Sucking faces with a nymph might get you some eggs in your tummy. Because in the lore where my mangas, the Night of Slime and Devil's Deal takes place in is not a pretty place. In my world, you have as good a chance as running into this tall Caesar salad than you do running into a lizard folk who might eat you. Or hell, if nothing else, mollywop you with his tail. Or best case scenario, you could run into a fae. She might be hot, but she might eat you as well. And one thing that we learned about the lore is that anytime fae are involved in something, there's going to be a lot of variance. Because if Anaru's spirit of wood and lightning is any indication by how she goes through the forest randomly zapping creatures with her lightning to impregnate them, you can bet that there are a lot of different types of nymphs out there. You could run into a drowned nymph, which is very cute until you see the rest of the body. And that body is big. But here's some interesting lore around the drowned nymph. The drowned nymph was an unfortunate union between the Komodo star whale and also the sea singer, which is what we refer to as classical mermaids. The thing is, the Komodo star whale has a lot of resources that fishermen will risk their lives out going into the ocean to go get, but only out to a mile because anything beyond that's very, very dangerous. And so they ended up actually setting a trap for a Komodo star whale and capturing it. However, in the process, a mermaid got caught in it as well. And the thing is, the Komodo star whale reproductive and defense system are tied together. So whenever the whale got trapped, it started basically panicking, thrashing against the cage. And when that didn't work, it used its sperm in order to try to melt the cage. And unfortunately, the mermaid was caught in the cage as well and could not get out. So when the whale released its sperm in order to basically melt the cage, she unfortunately was caught in it as well. And so while she was horrifically burned, she did survive. And she ended up getting pregnant as one of the little sperms found its way into her egg hatchery and got her pregnant. And this mermaid, known as Bella Air, would later return back to her home, give birth. The child would unfortunately kill her because the child was a lot bigger than her body was capable of handling, but being a fae, having wild DNA, the body made sure it was producing something viable. But if you simply want to make out with a normal nymph, here's what you can expect. A nymph, their saliva actually has a chemical that upon entering into your stomach, because they're going to kiss you and they're going to make it as wet as possible for you, but reaching your stomach, it will start to create growths in your guts. Regardless if you're a man or woman, the result is the same. The saliva will eventually turn into a mass, which will become its eggs, taking up space in your stomach. And then it will create growths that link to your reproductive system. For women, it will attach to your ovaries. For men, it will go down to your testicles so it can get its sperm. And it will literally start filtering all that genetic material into your stomach to basically fertilize all the eggs. And it will use whatever food you eat in order to basically power the generation of all of these embryos that it's going to be forming in your guts. And you won't know because it's not necessarily painful. You'll definitely notice some bloating, especially as the eggs start to develop. But you could potentially pass these eggs without much knowledge of what's going on. There have been cases where people have gone years just giving birth to nymphs without knowing any better because they poop them out. But the problem is, once the eggs are done basically doing their thing and the hatchery is empty, then it leaves holes in your stomachs that can cause sepsis. But all this lore is coming from the mating manual, which you can support by grabbing a Ruby Gold sub, or if you want to get an original character into the lore, grab a diamond.